Hey friend, let's talk about something real that hits most of us harder than we expect. We grow up hearing that if we're gentle, honest, open-hearted and really show up for people, they'll treat us the same way, they'll cherish us, stand by us, see us clearly. But life has a way of teaching a different lesson. Very often the more we give emotionally, the more we're overlooked, used, or even blamed. You pour your heart out trying to help someone, trying to love them through their mess, and instead of gratitude you get distance, criticism, or straight-up betrayal. It stings because it feels so unfair. Yet right in the middle of that hurt, Carl Jung left us something powerful that can quietly change the whole game. He said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That one line flips everything. Your real strength isn't in what others did or didn't do, it's in how you meet it, how aware you stay, and what you decide to do with the pieces. This isn't fluffy motivation or quick fixes. It's about the kind of inner shift Jung spent his life mapping out, facing the hidden parts of yourself, doing the shadow work, walking the path toward becoming a whole person, and learning how to carry pain without letting it own you. When you really get these ideas, the same words or actions from others that used to crush you start losing their power. The hurt stops feeling like a mystery or an attack, it starts feeling like information. And people, they stop defining you. Instead they start showing you exactly where your next layer of growth is waiting. Here's the uncomfortable truth Jung kept pointing at: the people who hurt us most are usually reflecting something we haven't accepted or looked at inside ourselves yet. That's why certain wounds keep getting poked, because we're still avoiding the sore spot. We've all been through a betrayal that left scars, maybe from a partner, a family member, someone we trusted completely. After that it's easy to shut down, to stop trusting people or even our own gut feelings. But Jung would gently ask, which part of you missed or ignored the warning signs? Which part was so desperate to be chosen that it overrode your inner voice? Your healing and your freedom hide in those honest answers. This isn't about turning cold, building high walls, or swearing off vulnerability. It's about creating a solid inner ground so strong that no outside storm can shake it loose again. Jung taught that real healing starts when we stop hiding from the messy mix inside us, the brave parts and the scared parts, the wise parts and the wounded parts, and just let ourselves be all of it. The moment you stop needing the world to tell you who you are or whether you're enough, that's when you become steady. Really steady. So here are 6 truths pulled straight from Jung's deepest insights. They're personal, they're challenging, and if you stay with me I believe they'll help your pain start making sense instead of just hurting. You'll see why certain people keep showing up in your life, why the same patterns loop, and how you can finally take the wheel of your own emotions again. If you hang until the end, I promise something will shift. Your suffering won't disappear, but it will stop running the show. Let's do this together. First truth, the deepest cuts almost always come from the things inside us we still haven't claimed. Jung put it like this: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's why the same kind of hurt keeps finding us, different face, different year, same feeling. It's rarely just about what they did. It's about the beliefs, fears and old stories we carry that we haven't looked at yet. Think about it. Someone can say one casual thing and suddenly you're flooded with shame or anger. That reaction isn't really about their words, it's about an old wound they accidentally brushed against. Jung called those buried pieces the shadow, the qualities, feelings, and needs we've pushed away because we were taught they're bad or unacceptable. When we deny them, other people become walking mirrors. The person who seems too selfish bothers you so much because you haven't given yourself permission to have healthy boundaries yet. The one who feels too distant triggers you because part of you still believes love has to be earned through constant giving. It's not your fault we learned to hide those parts, most of us did. But Jung's big point is that healing isn't about becoming flawless. It's about becoming complete. You start by simply noticing, okay, this situation really got under my skin. What old belief is lighting up right now? Real example, someone raised by parents who only gave affection when they achieved something big often grows up thinking, I have to keep giving and performing or I'll be left. So they end up in relationships where they overgive and still feel invisible. Until that core belief is seen and questioned, the pattern repeats. The second you bring it into the open, you stop pointing fingers outward and start gently taking your power back. Quick ways to start. Watch your strongest emotions like a curious friend, no judgment. Write down what hurts and ask, when have I felt this before? Speak kindly to the scared or angry part of you. Let it tell you what it's been protecting. It's not easy work. It shatters some comfortable stories. But the payoff is huge. Once you own those hidden pieces, people can't push those same buttons anymore. Second truth, others can only wound you in the places you haven't yet healed. Ever notice how the same flavor of pain keeps coming back, just wearing a new name and a new story? Jung would say those repeated heartbreaks aren't random, they're your unhealed wounds asking to finally be seen and cared for. Take fear of being left. Maybe as a kid love felt unreliable, one day warm, next day gone. Now, years later, a partner takes 6 hours to reply and your whole system goes into panic. You start over-explaining, over-apologizing, clinging. Not because the situation is truly dangerous, but because the old wound got touched. The other person didn't create the wound, they just pressed on it. And as long as the wound stays unhealed, anyone who presses there will feel like they're destroying you. Jung's advice is simple and tough: stop running from the feeling. Turn toward it. What you avoid grows stronger. What you face softens and eventually loses its grip. Practical steps. Pinpoint the exact feeling that knocks you down, worthless, invisible, powerless. Ask, where did I first learn this was true about me? Write a new sentence you can choose to believe instead: I am allowed to exist even when someone steps back. When you become the one who finally stays for yourself, you stop leaking energy trying to make others stay. That's real freedom. Third truth, you don't draw in what you wish for, you draw in what you're carrying inside. Jung talked about an inner law of attraction long before it became a buzzword. Your unspoken beliefs, your unresolved hurts, your quiet self-image, they send out a signal, and life answers with people and situations that match it. Want respect but keep meeting people who dismiss you. Crave real closeness but end up with hot and cold connections. The question isn't, why do I always pick the wrong ones? It's, what inside me still feels familiar with this kind of pain? A classic example, a person who grew up feeling they had to earn attention often consciously wants a loving, consistent partner, yet somehow keeps choosing people who make them chase. Why? Because chasing love feels like home. Change happens when you update the blueprint. When you start treating yourself with the respect you want from others, the old magnetic pull weakens. People who thrive on your insecurity start drifting away. People who value presence start showing up. To shift it. Notice your automatic reaction when things get hard. What story does it follow? Stop calling pain character building. Growth is beautiful. Unnecessary suffering isn't noble. Practice new self-talk. I deserve consistency. I can leave when I'm not valued. You're not trying to become someone new. You're remembering who you've always been beneath the old survival habits. Fourth truth, not everyone is supposed to like you, and that's okay. What matters is that you like being you. People-pleasing slowly eats your peace because every yes that should have been no is a small betrayal of yourself. Jung said the greatest gift you can give your life is to become who you actually are. And the moment you start doing that, some people will pull away. Not because you're wrong, but because your authenticity makes their masks feel uncomfortable. You weren't born to shrink so others can feel tall. You weren't put here to trade your truth for temporary approval. But so many of us learned exactly that: be easy, be agreeable, don't rock the boat, or love might disappear. Jung would call that a split life, living half in your real self and half in a performance. Every time you swallow your real opinion to keep the peace, you teach yourself that your voice is dangerous. Safety isn't in being everyone's favorite. It's in being at home inside your own skin. When you stop auditioning for approval, you say no and the sky doesn't fall. You walk away from draining situations without endless guilt. Rejection stings less because you're no longer abandoning yourself first. Little practices. Notice which version of you shows up around different people. Try tiny truthful moments. I see it differently. That doesn't work for me. Write down what you really felt but didn't say. Over time it trains you to speak it out loud. Wholeness isn't loud or perfect. It's honest. And honest people eventually attract other honest people, or at least they stop attracting the ones who need you small. Fifth truth: once you befriend your shadow, manipulation loses its power over you. Jung described the shadow as everything you've disowned: anger you call wrong, needs you label selfish, fears you pretend don't exist. The crazy part: whatever you hide gets used against you. People don't control you through your confidence. They control you through the insecurities you won't look at. Someone senses you fear being alone, they threaten to leave. They see your guilt button, they make every fight your fault. They spot your hunger for validation, they give just enough to keep you hooked. That stops the moment you stop being afraid of those parts. Example: if abandonment terrifies you unconsciously, a manipulative partner can keep you anxious and compliant with silence, mixed signals, hot-cold games. But once you've sat with that fear, looked it in the eye and said, "I will survive even if you walk away," their tactics lose all leverage. You answer drama with calm: "You're free to go. I won't chase." Jung's famous line: one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your shadow isn't bad. It's just unclaimed. When you claim it, no one can weaponize it anymore. Start small. Catch what makes you defensive or overly emotional. That's shadow talking. Ask, what part of me am I embarrassed to admit exists? Talk to it gently. What are you protecting? What do you need right now? You become your own safe place. After that, guilt trips, silent treatments, love bombing, they all hit a wall of self-knowledge. Sixth truth: pain stops owning you the moment you give it a different meaning. Jung believed suffering isn't the enemy of growth, it's often the doorway. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Most of us spend huge energy trying to dodge hurt, staying too long, numbing out, distracting ourselves. But pain doesn't shrink when ignored, it spreads. Here's what changes everything: the story you tell about the pain. Heartbreak hits. You could decide, this proves I'm unlovable and always will be. You close, you harden, you settle next time. Or you could decide, this proves I had the courage to open my heart. Now I know more about what I actually need. The wound becomes a source of strength instead of shame. Same event. Completely different future. Jung said real vision only comes when you look inside. Pain is the flashlight showing you where you were still asleep, where you ignored your worth, ignored red flags, gave more than you got. To turn pain into power. Ask, what strength did this experience force me to develop? Thank the part of you that survived. You're still here. That's not nothing. Let it fuel something bigger, help someone else, create, speak up. The aim isn't a life without pain. That's not possible. The aim is to feel the hurt without letting it turn you bitter, closed, or small. Jung never promised you'd never hurt again. He promised the hurts wouldn't get to decide who you become. So here's where it all lands. You make the hidden parts conscious. You stop pretending everything's fine when it isn't. You stop running from the pain and start listening to it. You stop editing yourself so others stay comfortable. When you do those things, you stop reacting out of fear and start responding from clarity. You stop chasing love and start radiating it. You stop dreading being alone and start enjoying your own company. You become solid, not because life got softer, but because you got stronger. That's the quiet revolution Jung pointed toward. You're not damaged goods. You're in the middle of becoming whole. You're not weak. You're waking up. You're not lost. You're coming home to yourself. So walk with this. Once you face your wounds, befriend your shadow, and decide your own value, no one gets to hurt you the same way again. Not because the world suddenly became kinder, because you finally became unbreakable in the ways that matter. If this spoke to you, drop a comment. I choose my healing. I choose my wholeness. No one can take that from me. And if it helped even a little, pass it to someone who's hurting right now. Like, share, subscribe if you want more of this kind of real talk. Most of all, keep choosing yourself. Every single day. You've got this.